Hello, Beat Baseball World. Welcome back to the Beat Ball Blues Show, where the weather outside is frightful, but Neil Dog and Bam Bam are always delightful. What you think about that, Bam Bam? I got verses, baby. I got verses,
Oh
baby.
God,
you don't.
that's crazy.
Yeah, we watch again. Quiet from the peanut gallery. Quiet from the peanut gallery. You don't watch. There's a show called BattleBots where they, where it's basically a fighting tournament of people make their robots and then they do battles in cages.
Oh,
and stuff
okay.
like that. It's pretty cool. The kids, we all watch it and stuff like that. But the whoever introduces the robot, the robots always have a little tombstone, stuff like that. He always does rhymes like that.
Oh.
Tombstone is gonna kill you, or something stupid. You reminded me totally of that guy as you were doing it. So long story short, man, you brought back good memories, Neil Dog. Good memories. I love it. I love it. Do it more, man. Do it more.
Excellent. Well, check it out. I was wrong on our count last week. This here is episode number 70 of the Beat Ball Blues Show, and we did manage to match 2020, the 35 episodes. I didn't think we were going to pull it off, Seth Dog, but we have done it 2 years in a row, so we have set our standard 35 episodes in a 52-week year. Get a little over 4 months vacation for all our hard work. Well deserved. We might have to cut some of those back next year, take a little extra vacation. Now we're getting tenure with the show. But we need to get
parental leave, Neil Dog. It's parental leave. Every year you get 17 weeks off to hang out with the kids. So we have 17 weeks off, Neil Dog. I could do a job like that. Hell, shit.
It'd have to pay better than this one. Well, before we get yelled at again by the world record holder, because we're keeping them from the NFL, want to bring in our guests. We're going to take a break from Beat Baseball, even though I'm sure it will be spoken of on some level. But we're going to give you some gift ideas for some stocking stuffers from the Indie Edge. We have the author who has just released his second children's book titled Ballin-Beyond-the-Wheels, Jacory Wiley of the Indie Edge. What up, Jacory? Welcome back.
What's going on, Neil Dog? I appreciate you having me on, brother.
We appreciate you taking the time to do it. We have brought along with us our longtime friend, world record holder in the long jump, Mr. Lex Gillette, so we can also promote and talk some more about his book, Fly. I should tell Seth and Jacory, back when I was just doing the show like live on Facebook Live when it first began, that's around the time that Lex's book Fly came out, and so I asked if he'd come on and whatever, promote the book, and I got so carried away yucking it up about us playing beat ball together and old funny stories, like get towards the end, an hour in, like, man, Lex, I ain't got
you got a book?
I ain't got much else for you, dude. So, man, I ain't talking about my book. Well, we're out of time. So, even though I've tried to speak his book up from time to time when it comes up, give him another shot. So we'll do a better job for you, Jacory. You're more relevant in beat baseball now than Lex.
And by now, Neil has had the opportunity to read the book, so he can ask you about specific things that you presented within your text and stuff.
Okay.
Like that.
Well,
and since the version of it that I purchased was sent to Seth's house, like his whole family could comment on it, which would be a so because I know they sat down, they do stuff as a family all the time. I know they sat down and
had a whole little book club going that night. Fly.
I want to hear there's some quotables in there. I better hear some quotables.
I don't read things from the 21st century. Just saying.
Oh,
old school 1800s, man. Now if you're black, and you was blind back in the 1800s, I'd be all over you, Lex. You know, all over you, man.
You'd be part of his
Man.
Oh
dissertation.
man,
Yeah, right.
That's
I
crazy.
write my book and title it Lex. But
Well, since we obviously already have this, field going, man, like Lex and Jacory, feel free to jump in, like whenever, you know what I mean? We'll just all like chat it up. But
you and
let's.
I are gonna have a conversation. You guys just come in whenever you guys feel like you guys can contribute. You know? Let the professionals handle the conversation here.
If you feel strong enough to knock one of us back long enough, then jump on in.
If you guys are writers, put your comments in the comments section.
Look, ain't nobody worried about knocking you down. We just don't chop block you. We don't go high. We go low. That's all. It's cool.
So Jacory, go ahead and jump in, man. Tell us about this is your second children's book. Are they independent of each other? Or is this like a second part to the first one?
Nah, they're independent of each other. I'm a person that believes in making your work better. So I always looking for different ways to better my work, and I came across a new publishing, a new printer company that I could print my books up where they'd be better. And I was looking for them to. When I first did Vision to Dream, I felt like it was a great book, but I feel like it could have been done a lot better. And like I said, I'm a person that believes in finding better ways to do my work, and this was another way. So I republished Vision to Dream, but my second book is called Ballin-Beyond-the-Wheels, which is about a young boy named Joseph who loves basketball, but he ends up having a dramatic incident that makes him question his love for the game. His parents ends up introducing him to wheelchair basketball, and he ends up finding out that he still could play the games that he loved, just in a different way.
So did you actually interview people with the who do wheelchair basketball to find out about the sport and stuff like that? Like how
Yeah. I spoke to people. When I wrote the book, I was living back in Houston at the time. I moved to Tallahassee, Florida right now. That's where I live now. But when I first had wrote the book, I had went to the Multi-Service Center, which is back in Houston, where they have wheelchair basketball there, and I spoke to some people there. Not to mention, I played the game a few times as well, so it's cool.
Hey, this is not a question related to the book, but I know Tallahassee is mad right now. Florida State is mad right now because Deion Sanders stole what's my man's name? Travis Hunter, the cornerback. I think he was gonna go to Florida State. Now he's going to Jackson State.
Yeah, that they had this. They
Really?
they number one prospect or whatever. Yeah.
You said really?
Hey.
All right. Yeah, hey.
I take it back, Lex. You can't jump in whenever you want.
Those nil deals will do for people now, man. I heard he got a $3 million nil deal. A nil deal.
Oh yeah.
in the flip from Deion's company. I'm like, man, what the hell's up with that?
That's what the report is. Yeah.
That kept getting me excited. Like Neil deal. What's the Neil deal? I want a
Neil
Neil
deal. Neil deal. No. But yeah.
So, Jacory, I wanted to jump in at that last statement you made. Have you played wheelchair basketball as a blind individual, or did you have sight at one point and play? What do you mean you played?
Before he got sight.
Yeah, it's like
high partial.
Man,
I wouldn't have made your kids come down and look at me on the camera. I would have had the card.
Look, I'm all right, man. Look, I got a little something, you know what I'm saying? But not, it's workable, it's cool. Like I can see well enough. I could line up that goal and stuff like that. If I know that the goal is to the left, I gotta be a little bit more to the right to line it up. You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff like that when I played it and stuff. So
No, that's
hey, everybody got to do what they can do for themselves, man. And it was an experience. It was fun. It was cool.
I love that you challenge yourself. Like Seth, before we were recording, was joking around with you, but you know, I love the fact that you're blind and you play beat baseball, but you didn't just do a book about beat baseball. You know what I mean? You took it to a different place. You know what I mean? You challenged yourself. Really, you went
Right.
outside your comfort zone and went in a whole direction that you would have to go learn about, man. I think that's really cool. Where can people get your book?
Well, you can find it. You can find it on my website. You can go to my website, www.jacorywiley.com. But if you don't want to go there, you can get it off of Amazon. It's available at Barnes and Noble. It's on All Sound, which is an audio platform for all my vision impaired people out there. It's going to be on iTunes and what's that? Audible. I'm just waiting on these last few things to clear and to be there soon. But if it's not in your local bookstore, just ask them to order it. It's available to order in bulk, so the bookstores can get it in bulk. So, yeah.
All right. When we post the show, I'm going to put the. Is it best just to, like, put the website, the link to your personal website, and they could probably find all.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can get everything from the website. All my books are there, the audio books and the links to where you can get them from.
You know, and I'm going to post stuff for both you and Lex, both on the YouTube channel and where we post the show. But you know, reading through your the post that Leah Michaels put up for you in Beatball Central. That you have like a catchphrase, or is that like the name of your? I realized when you were talking at the beginning here that might be the name of your book, like Vision to Dream or something like that. Is it? Did I have that right?
Oh yeah, my catchphrase is, you know, you got to turn your vision into a reality. You know, everybody got a vision, but it's not until you turn it into a reality that it comes to fruition. So, you know, my hope is to help everybody turn whatever vision that they have into a reality.
What caught my attention and I thought was cool with both you and Lex, because when I came across that, with both you and Lex coming on today, Lex has his own little phrase that he actually had trademarked. Lay yours down, Lex.
Yeah, no need for sight when you have a vision. You said what year was that? Did you ask me?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
just said to lay it down. Or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Share it with
Yeah.
us. But
Yeah.
I thought that was cool that you both, you know, that I was, you know, both bringing you both on today so that we could talk to you about your books. But you both have like a little catchphrase thing that's similar to each other.
Yeah. Hey, I was talking to one of my buddies who's on the Paralympic team, and so I was letting him know that if you are someone who's blind or visually impaired and you're out here doing something worthwhile, I bet you that you would have some type of mantra or something that has to do with sight and vision. I know there's a couple other athletes, one who was like a cyclist, and she was like, I can't remember exactly how she worded hers, but it was essentially the same as mine. And so I had to get somebody to have a little chit chat with her because of what you just said, Neil. Like I had that trademark.
Hey, you jocking right now. Back up, for real.
I support you, young lady, but you're gonna be supporting me more than you want. If
Like,
you
yeah, it was like something like who needs sight and have a vision, or it was something along those lines. I heard somebody
using that, Lex, and I asked them, I'm like, do you know Lex Gillette? Because they were from North Carolina. And they're like, oh no, I've heard of them, but I don't know of them or whatever. But they were using your exact little thing, man. I'm like, man, I don't know.
Who said this?
Go right to
that address. It was somebody from North Carolina.
I'm going to get my attorney out here.
Yeah, right. Oh,
hey,
man.
Let me ask about that, because like, have you had like issues come up with that? Like, has that, because you have it trademarked, has that put some cash in your pocket? I don't
Well,
know if
to
that's
answer
the right
that,
way to ask. Sorry.
to answer that question, no, yeah,
All
I'm putting
right.
cash in my pocket. But now when we had that incident with the one person, it was largely because that person is an athlete too, and we're all in this, in this space. Like, you can't use that. Like, literally, other brands and sponsors that I've had have asked to use that, and they'll put that in different marketing campaigns and ads and stuff like that. And yeah, but we had a discussion or an agreement where they could use that, whereas this other person, and I would have never known. I think one of my friends had texted me. He was like, "Oh man, such and such is totally taking your slogan." And then well, I was like, "Well, what exactly does it say?" And that's when he was like, something along the lines of, "Who needs sight when you have a vision?" And it's like, all right, well, there's literally only maybe one or two words that are different in their mantra versus mine. So
Well, if nothing else, though, it definitely gives you like you have power.
Yeah.
To
It's just a
at
matter of
least
like,
address the situation.
yeah, exactly.
Is that something you've done also, Jacory, with your thing, or listening to Lex? Is it something that you'll think about?
Yeah, mine is trademarked as well.
Oh,
So
okay. All right.
we all good.
Look at you, boys, man. This is the kind of stuff Seth and I just would have sat back and talked about, man. We really should do that.
I think Seth, is he awake? Oh, is he back there?
I'm here. I didn't want to, interrupt. I've been throwing, things out and stuff like that.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, Lex, how's your fantasy team doing today?
Yo, hey, and what fantasy experts? I saw early in the season that it was not going to be my year, so I went ahead and
I've noticed in our Carolina league, you've been non-existent for the most part,
man, because
even though you're not even doing that, man.
Hey, what happened was my phone. I had to reset my phone, and I lost all my apps, so I don't have my Yahoo app on my phone anymore. Granted, I know that I could get on the computer, but it just seemed like it was a little easier when I had it on my phone. And yeah, I see all of the text messages that y'all send out and stuff like that, but I just haven't been motivated to go in there and do anything. And I'm sure at this point in the season, my team over there is probably trash too.
All right. So before we jump into Lex and Tokyo and how you did in the Paralympics, earning your 5th silver medal, I want to make sure we get it out there again. JacoryWiley.com. Do you want to spell your name for folks, Jacory? Make sure they get it right.
Hey, no problem. That's www.JacoryWiley.com. That's Wiley Coyote, just like Wiley Coyote. JacoryWiley.com.
I can't believe a 53-year-old has to tell you this, Jacory, but man, you don't need to throw the www in there anymore. People pretty got that. People got that.
Hey, I'm gonna throw it out there for those who like, man, what was the website again?
I was more confused by it's spelled like Wiley Coyote. I don't know how to spell Wiley and Wiley Coyote, man.
I was thinking, I almost warned him, don't say too many words, because people remember what they hear. They're like, he said it's WileyCoyote.com.
We're like, wait, was I supposed to put Coyote at the end of that? Did that come after .com? Did you hear that part?
Hey, I was happy to hear it. I'm gonna make sure I check it out as soon as I can. Now, I'm happy to hear that you already have like an audio version of it figured out. Was that hard to add as part of the package?
Nah, everything comes with research, and me being a man of research, and when you come across connections and things like that, everything come pretty easy. So. It wasn't too hard. It was pretty easy. Just getting everything uploaded was the whole nagging part, that technology, man. It's annoying sometimes. But other than that, getting everything made was pretty much easy. I'm about to get Ballin-Beyond-the-Wheels done in the audio. It's getting made right now, so that'll be done here soon. So yeah.
Hey, before 'cause I did forget, I wanted to ask this. Because I mean, anybody could read a children's book, in my opinion. But like, what age would you say when it's a children's book? What age group are you targeting with it?
I like that what you said, because that's my mantra as well. You don't have to be a child to read a children's book. You don't have to be a child to receive the message. It's all about your perspective on it, and you could take it and make it into whatever you wanted to make it into, and you could receive the message in whatever way that you want to, but you don't have to be a child to receive this message. So it's from children to adults read my books, and I had adults who told me that my book has made an impact in their life. So you don't have to be a child to receive a message.
Let me rephrase this question. What is the target age group? If like, let's say we weren't like trying to give people messages and stuff, and just what's the target
or maybe
age
like
group?
what's the youngest age you
Like,
have
I
in
mean,
mind?
like they'll say on games.
I got
12,
you.
12 to 18, 18 to 24.
Yeah. It's from 5 and up.
Oh, okay. Then I should be all right. That's
said
that's
then I
about
should
where
be all right.
that's about where
He said I should be all right.
We could probably read it in Braille, Neil.
Look, you got a Braille display?
No.
You got a Braille display?
No, for what?
He's like, no, for what?
There's so many more things that I could use that money towards that I would actually use.
Oh,
Seth had
God.
the idea a long time ago when we started like getting into the idea of doing shows together and trying other formats, whatever, that something that people probably would have found funny is if we like each had one page of Braille and had a race to see which one of us could read it. But I think the show would be too long.
Did you never get into Braille after you had?
I did. I mean, one thing for me personally is I was a terrible student before and after I lost my eyesight. And even though I learned Braille really quickly, like I had that my very first like VI teacher was coming to my house like within 2 months after I lost my eyesight. I lost my eyesight right at the end of 5th grade, like in end of May. So like it was summertime while I was healing up. And by the time I started school in September, she had me reading Braille, like beyond like just the alphabet. So like I took to it really fast, but again, I wasn't a dedicated student. And then after I got out of high school, I just, other than doing my own notes, rarely ever had Braille. So and I wasn't dedicated to keeping it up. You know what I mean? I've actually been thinking just here recently of signing up for one of NFB's Braille literacy courses and just kind of redoing it again and get my mind sharp, because I didn't use it regular enough. I'm just terrible with what contractions are and stuff. So the whatever. So that's I don't know. It's Seth, your story.
I got shot in the middle of the 8th grade or at the beginning of the 8th grade, and I started learning it right away. Well, I got shot in October, was back in school in January. So I learned it, but I just never could, devote the time needed to be a proficient reader at it. I could write it. I love writing it. I would actually use it to take notes today, but I just can't read it worth anything. And I just never practiced in high school. I was doing so many other things, and then at that point, audio was easier to get a hold of, and and so to me, it just never was something I put effort to. I remember reading Braille books I had to like Trajan and stuff like that, and he would get sick of it and take my fingers away and start reading the book and stuff like that. So I'm just so slow at it. But it was really just I didn't have the time to put into it. But I could write it. I love writing it. I think it's great to write, but
And beyond like how like you know how good I make jokes about not reading it well, whatever. I'm very much pro Braille. Like whenever I talk to young blind people, I will flat out tell them the two most important things they should have in their tool belt is using a cane and learning Braille.
Right.
So I, even though I make the joke,
look at you being a nice little ambassador.
Yeah.
Hey.
You'd never believe it, would you? As mean as I was to you growing up.
Man.
So Lex, man, let's jump into you. Like, let me ask you first, because you got your book Fly about your life as a long jumper, the world record holder for totally blind long jumpers. You have gotten a silver medal in the Paralympics 5 times now, which is crazy. 5 Olympic Games and medaling in all of them, which is very impressive. For people to find your book Fly, is lexgillette.com still a good place for them to go? Best place?
Yeah.
All right. I'll post that both on the YouTube page and wherever we describe the show, man. But tell us about your experience in Tokyo, dude.
Tokyo was definitely interesting. It was us going through a whole bunch of steps before we even got to the point of getting on the plane. So, of course, with the pandemic running rampant, we had to go and get different. Sorry, my phone is vibrating. Sorry about that. But we had to go get a number of different tests. COVID-19 tests. And so we would do those. You had to download a number of different applications on your phone, which for the most part weren't really accessible. So I had to get people to help me take the information around the COVID-19 test. We had to upload those things into that application. Then you had to get like the green light from whoever is reviewing that information that's received from that application. And amongst all of those things, you had all of those documents that they would generate, and then we, of course, go to the airport, get cleared to fly, make it to Tokyo safely. But the interesting thing is that so once we landed in Tokyo, we had to stay on the plane. Anybody else who was transferring to other points like Guam or Philippines or wherever they were going, those people got off of the plane first, and then we got off last as people who were staying in Tokyo. And I always tell people that when we arrived at the airport at like 3 p.m, with everything that we had to do in terms of testing inside of the airport, sitting and waiting for the results from the test. One of the tests from our squad came back inconclusive, which tacked on another couple hours of sitting inside of this quarantine. So we didn't get out of the airport until like 10 o'clock that night. So sitting inside the airport for like 6-7 hours, finally get on the bus to go to the village.
That's after what, like a 13-hour flight?
Yes, exactly.
Man.
So it was to the point where we were in there so long, people just started laying on the ground and their backpacks with pillows and just going to sleep. So we finally get on the bus to go over to the athletes village. And of course, that's another hour, 15, hour and a half to get there. So I say all of that to say, by the time I got to the village, I was not only tired, like sleepy, but I was hungry, yo. I could have ate everything. Oh, man, like, so we get to the village, do all of those things, get checked in, finally get something to eat. And usually we have this team processing situation where there's a specific city that all of the athletes fly to, and that's where we get measured for our opening ceremonies attire, closing ceremonies attire, all your
free clothes,
everything, the Ralph Lauren gear, the Nike gear, all of that stuff. But this year, since this COVID country, COVID climate, we had all of our stuff in the room waiting for us when we got there. So that was definitely a little interesting
Yeah,
versus
I guess it's safe to say easily that because I mean, again, this is your fifth Olympic experience, and you've like world games and world competition
yeah.
is just something you've been doing for 18 years now that I know of.
Yo,
This had to have been just a completely different experience for you.
wild.
Corey,
Definitely
are you doing
totally
dishes?
night and
I'm
day.
sorry.
What's up?
Corey, are you doing dishes?
Oh,
Yeah, I get Jacory, man. Can you mute your phone if you're gonna like make dinner?
There's a microwave go off.
Yeah,
Man.
he's like, oh man, they took care of my book, man. Screw this old dude.
Sorry, my bad. I just kept hearing all that noise.
Actually, I thought it might have been you. I was like, man, I don't know who to yell at.
Oh man, you
couldn't have moved around like that though. I forget. So my bad.
You made him leave, Neil Dog. You see how you?
oh yeah, he did. Did he hop off? He hopped off.
Our guest upset, and then everybody's gonna point the finger at me again, man. You know, you got him to leave, man. I'm sorry, Jacory. That's on him.
Yeah, well,
My bad, man.
Oh yeah, he's back.
Nah, it was the phone was dialed in on the call as well as the freaking Zoom thing, dude. So the phone aspect of it was still, I had muted the Zoom and all that stuff, and I'm sorry, bro.
We're just predicting that you're on Beepball Nation talking about how badly we treated you.
Yeah,
Nah, man, I was like, dang, this bad, bro. I heard you say, yo, what you doing? I was like, man, my bad, Lex, dang, bro.
No, you good.
You know, Lex, like along the lines of what you're just talking about, recently listening to Greg Lindbergh's podcast, the Eyes
Yeah.
Sports podcast. His guest, and I'm sorry I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he was at the Olympics for his first time ever this year. So like that's his only experience.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where like he was talking about not really getting the total like interaction with other countries and stuff that you guys normally get to experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, he was right. And I think that, with everything that was going on, I always tell people that in terms of like, yeah, you were able to get out there and compete. And even that was a totally different experience. But even beyond that, being able to go into the city to like really truly experience the culture and try out foods outside of the athletes village, we couldn't do any of those things. And Tokyo is, up to this point, London was my favorite games, just from competition to Paralympic awareness within that country. And it was an amazing time. Tokyo, I felt like was going to be the games to rival that one. And I felt like, all right, this might be the one that takes the cake in terms of
Like
just the total experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we couldn't really go out there and really tap into any of that. So we literally went to 4 places: the airport, obviously, the athletes village, the training venue, and the competition venue. Nowhere else.
Oh,
So,
it sounds like my type of trip, Neil. Dog.
Seth
Get in, get out, man.
Seth and I have never understood you people and your desire to sightsee.
They got TVs now, man. You ain't got it.
hey.
You don't have to leave the hotel unless there's a game schedule.
I need to get out there and get it in while I can. Get it in all while I'm on somebody else's dime. They're paying for the flights and the hotels and stuff.
Actually, that is something when the World Series was in Taiwan back in 2000. That is something that I actually made a point to do that I didn't normally do when I was at a World Series tournament. I got out with my teammates and went and did stuff because I knew it was a unique experience. So I'm guessing that's it. What you go through when you do these Olympic Games with kind of a two-parter. So after that long experience just getting squared away there. How long did you have until you had to start competing after all that? And how do you, for the audience, how do you feel like the competition went? Silver medal obviously is a fantastic finish, but how do you feel about that whole thing?
Yeah, so the first part of the question, I probably had like 6 to 7 days before the competition. And so I had a decent amount of time. Once the competition happened, it literally felt like a high school track meet. And we get out there. Normally you're where the warm-up track is, it's outside of the stadium. So it's not inside. And you can at least hear the cheering of crowd, and like you just can tell that, oh, okay,
feel the energy.
There's a lot of stuff going on, but it was the only thing we heard out there were like cicadas. And the occasional the PA announcer gets up there and says whatever they say, notifying athletes when they need to report to the call tent. But outside of that, bro, it was super quiet.
Felt like the kids that didn't have parents that cared, like didn't show up at their games.
Bro,
I didn't know where you were going. When you said it felt like a high school track meet, I was like, oh, long and drawn out.
Bro, just not anything going on. So we eventually get to the stadium and go through that whole jazz, warming up again. But yeah, the competition literally felt like a training session. Like it felt like practice. We had a handful of people in the stands, and they were from Team USA and from the other countries who were competing in that particular event. So I don't know what the seating capacity was for Tokyo, but as you can imagine, it was barely anybody in there. Competition
that must have felt weird being in an empty stadium, big empty stadium. Weird,
Yes.
When people grow up dreaming about doing stuff in sports, they never dream about doing it to like silence or
right.
Whatever.
And then you think about the athletes who they feed off of that. I know for me, having to listen to my guide who's standing 100 and some odd feet away, I'm not necessarily enthused about in the literal act having the crowd make a whole bunch of noise. But yeah, there's still something special about when the crowd understands what you're doing and they are silent. And then once you run and take that jump, as soon as you land in the sand, the place erupts and it goes bananas. So we didn't have that at all. But I guess to answer the second question, finally, competition was good. Obviously happy about winning a silver, but still fell short of my goal, which was to win gold. But
how do you feel about your jumps?
Man, I felt like the very first one was the one that I was like mentally I was like, all right, I'm going to just go out here and on my very first jump just obliterate everyone. I just want to shut the door very early. And so I remember telling Wesley, my guide, when he was setting me up, I was like, bro, I'm going for it. Now, obviously I go for it on all of them, but it was the start of the competition. I was the very first jumper. So I just had that mindset of like, all right, come on, let's get it going. Like, let's go. Let's really let's pop this thing off. And felt good. Run was strong. Get down to the takeoff board and I jump. And I knew as soon as I left the ground, I was like, ooh, if this is, I hope that I did not step past the foul line, because if I don't, this is the gold medal jump. And landed in the sand. Really good jump. When I stood up, it only took me about a stride to get to the back of the long jump pit, which that's kind of how I'm able to determine, all right, whether this was a good jump or not. And but yeah, it was, barely stepped past the foul line, of course. And
it should have been all freaking pumped up, Lex.
yo,
You know? But tell people, relax, calm down.
bro, you making it sound like I was just totally, man, that's my fifth time.
Well, you gotta remember when you used to be a beat ball player, man, you would be jumping all around all the time, pogo sticking on the side.
Oh yeah, no, different situation.
But not right, but not right out of the gates. Like he would build up to that. And I kind of want to ask you, like, Lex, do you have a preference? Like I was thinking about it for myself. I wouldn't want to go first because I want to get a feel for what other jumpers are doing and kind of get my mindset for like what I need to do. I would think it's kind of hard to be the one that has to set the original like pace or whatever. Do you have a preference?
I don't have any issue with it. I think that at least in this, it's not like the difference in this is the sense of like it's all you. Like it really doesn't matter what anyone else does. Like you are competing against your own marks. So it's not like b-ball where we're out there, you know, trying to impose our will on the defense. We get up there and start batting around. And
I actually could kind of relate to that a little bit because I was a competitive swimmer for like 15 years.
Ah, yeah. So you know exactly.
And even though that's like more, well, I mean, the individual thing, you know, like for me being totally blind, well, I you know, swam, competed for a few years sighted. And then again, after I lost my eyesight as a blind swimmer, like I didn't know where the other swimmers were. I couldn't like use a swimmer next to me as like motivation to work harder. So every single race, even though I was in the pool with other swimmers, every single race was just me against myself trying to beat my mark.
Yeah. I mean, it has its pros and cons too. I feel like because even though that is the case, like if you could see those competitors in the water, and that might be the aspect that gives you a little like, all right, come on, I'm about to like run this person down. Like
they might put, if you see them in the water, they might push you forward. Whereas as a long jumper or that sort of situation was more analogous to my competitive ski. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But when I used to ski race, right, that was more like what it was because you were by yourself.
Right.
Nothing, there's nothing there. It's all just in your own mind. And
right.
Stuff like that. So I get that 100%.
Yeah.
So,
but even like Neil Dog, to your point, even the times when I was sprint, it's a similar type of situation because again, like the crowd is really loud and you can't, like, it's hard to hear the other athletes on either side of you. And if you're on one of the outside lanes, you're not really hearing much of anything. So
hey, it's like when I used to competitively ski, right? We ski, our runs were in the morning, right? We're skiing on ice.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're skiing on ice, right, as a totally blind skier, you don't, you know, all that noise, you don't hear.
It's
all, you don't hear. I mean, and then the wind at the top of the hill, it's like, man, you can't hear anything. You just got to kind of go out there on faith, man. So
did you have somebody, like you had someone that skied behind you?
Right in front of you.
In front. Okay. Calling out direction.
Out in front of you. There's no connection. You know, you're not connected.
Right.
So they, you know, if you slow down, they get farther ahead. It's harder to hear. You know,
right.
So you know, it was at times very scary situation to be in because it's like, man, I can't hear a damn thing.
Yeah.
I just got to go for it, man.
Right.
So.
And you're going so fast. I think. I don't know what speed that is. For those that don't know, Seth in the 90s was one of the top blind, totally blind snow skiers in the world, not just in the States, but had he been more open, had you, Seth, been more open to traveling worldwide?
Dang, Seth. Okay.
Yeah, Jacory. Back in my day, Jacory, I used to be an athlete, man. But I used to take the train everywhere, and you can't go. Can't keep up an athlete's schedule on the train.
I feel you. I feel you.
Can't go
Different-
overseas either.
Look, different mode of transportation required now.
We always told you, Jacory, you were the one that should have been running track and stuff like that, man. I'd never. Why were you never drawn to track, Jacory? I mean, you are hella fast, right? So why
He
did
said,
you
right?
do track?
Do I have the right Jacory?
Is he or not?
Nah, cause it was just like it was like one of those things where like when I would put my mindset to go do it, something else would end up happening. Like around the time that I first wanted to start doing it, then I started like speaking, and then my next time when I want to start doing it, I started writing my book and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that it would have been great, but
Yeah, this man
I
up
enjoyed
here, this man
the
up here
beat baseball.
stunting.
Huh?
What'd you say?
I
Lex?
said he's up here stunting really hard right now. I was going to compete in track and field, but I decided to go ride a boat. I was going to compete in track and field, but I had to go speak and inspire the world.
Look, you know, hey, man, see, you did your thing. You know what I'm saying? You left behind beat baseball. They was like, man, look, everybody know about Lex. Then next thing you know, you just decided to keep along the track of the Paralympic side, you know.
So
and
what he's
that-
saying, Lex, is that you quit out of beat ball. He called you a punk, Lex. That's what I heard.
Oh
They
boy,
called you
look.
a punk,
Oh,
Lex.
They got
Oh.
strong. They
You
got a
got something.
strong 8 years of lecture of me participating in b-ball. Man, they good.
You know, I wasn't sure if I was gonna bring this up or not, but I was gonna point out to you, Lex, that you know it's been, even though you're young, still in your 30s, it's been so long since you've played beat ball. Like the new crowd doesn't know you as a beat ball player, and they've got some crazy thoughts about you, man. I had a player interacting through this show ask me a question that tripped me out, man. I'm not gonna say who it is because he was out of line, but Axel Cox asked me,
Oh, he is crazy.
if Lex Gillette was such a great athlete, how come he didn't play good defense? I was like, what? Man, I'll tell people this: if anybody doesn't think Lex was a solid defensive player, man, the last 5 years that I played in the championship game 4 of those 5 times. And in all 5 of those years, off my right shoulder was Mike Finn, and off my left shoulder was Lex Gillette. And anything that got by me, I felt fine about.
Hey, let them know, bro.
I was okay with stuff getting by me. And we played Lex, even though he was our deepest player in right field, he was shaded towards center field. And the deep right field was completely wide open because we knew Lex could get from where his spot was all the way to the line anytime he needed to. About 4 strides, bam, Lex
Let
would
him
be
know.
there.
Let them know.
Man, anybody, I'm not gonna call anybody out.
Axel went like back in the day. Axel played for Austin, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there was that game where we had played them, and I want to say it was the year that unfortunately, Seth, you had your situation going on, so I had got moved over to the left-hand side, and or maybe it was early in the tournament, and Don was just playing around with lineups. I don't know. All I can say is I got put in the left side. And I think Axel he might not have been starting or anything like that, but he was super young on the team. I say all of that to say Kevin was intentionally having people
Going
hit to
after
my
you.
area. Bro, I had like 7, 8 putouts that game.
Actually, when Axel, his first year, like 2008, he was starting. He made the defensive all-star team.
Yeah.
Just give him a little credit since I called him out.
Yeah,
but no, I straightened him out. I'm straightening everybody else out now, Lex.
Okay.
But back on your long jumping, since Lord knows if you'll ever let yourself play beat ball again. So what's up with, is there going to be a 6th Olympic Games for Lex Gillette?
Yeah, I'm going to go for it. The cool thing is, since we did have since this road to the games was 5 years, this next one is only going to be 3.
Sort
So
of turnaround.
yeah, it shouldn't be too grueling. But I think, I mean, the other thing too, you really think about it when you put in the fact that we usually get like September and October off and a part of November, then you get Thanksgiving break and Christmas break. It'll actually be about 2.5, 2.75 years that you're actually going through a whole bunch of just physical labor. So
Why do you want to do it again, Lex?
bro, I'm trying to get this goal, bro.
Okay, so but what if you end up with the 6th? Right? Will it be right in chasing the goal? Right?
Yeah.
Will you be satisfied coming up with a 6th place as your last Olympics more than a 2nd place? If you understand my question, like if it goes,
well, yeah.
I
If
don't
I
know
go,
that
if
I
I
do.
go, if I go, and knock on wood, because this is not going to happen. But if I were to go and not get on the podium, if I finish 6th, then I would probably be devastated. I won't even say probably. I'm like, cut that word out. I will be devastated because I don't know anything other than going to, like, I've never not gotten on the podium before.
Yeah.
All right.
And so to go out there, to not have that happen, to be an athlete who, you know, fortunately I'm able to connect with a lot of brands and be an ambassador for this company or that company, and to get attention, to be around that whole build up for the games. And then for something like that to happen, like you don't even get on the podium. Oh my gosh. And you know, man, yeah.
I mean, you know, 6th, I throw out 6th, but 4th, you're not on the podium too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. 4th, I mean, that's the,
I don't know how many centimeters, inches were between you and 4th place last time, right? But I just saying, you know, everybody always tries to chase that ring one more time, right?
Yeah.
One more time. And then, you know, it seems like sometimes it works out where you get the fairy tale story where, oh, they go out on top finally and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's far more likely that, you know, performances slip and the finish is actually worse. And then it's like, oh damn, I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, I was just wondering.
Well, even though he said he would be devastated, I mean, knowing Lex like we do, I can't imagine, Lex, you would be disappointed for trying. You know what I mean?
Nah, definitely not.
I can't imagine there's anything that could happen that would make you sit at the end and say, I shouldn't have gone for it again. I mean, you got the desire, you still got the hops, you know, however it turns out, but you know, there's nothing to be lost in going for it.
Yeah. No, we're gonna definitely get out there and see what's going on. So it should be exciting. And like I said, I mean, like literally the 4 years goes by so quickly. Like I think back to like Rio seemed like it was last year. London seemed like it wasn't that far behind that. So I know that these 3 years they're gonna fly by.
Ooh, let's hope not.
Right.
Old, man. Sure. We don't want these years to fly by, Lex.
When people go to www.lexgillette.com and Gillette like the razor.
That's it.
I'll just mess with you, Jacory.
So
the book came out before your Tokyo experience. When people go check out the book Fly, what do they go get?
And they're gonna get a whole bunch of stuff. You'll find out about my journey to losing my sight. You'll learn about a lot of the people and relationships who they helped me get to this point. You'll definitely find out about how I was introduced to the sport, and again, it's just a big love fest, you know, showing a lot of love for the people who really helped me get to this point. But I think even beyond that,
hold on, what page are Neil and I on?
Oh, y'all are on page 92, I think.
Or so if I go through the index, I will see my name.
He said do they still have indexes?
Yes, they do.
Nah,
Yeah.
They're a very helpful thing in the
Yeah.
academic world, let me tell you.
I don't have one in my book. But anyway, I just think, I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, it's just really putting out there that we all have potential, and the relationships and people who we connect with, you really connect with some awesome people who hopefully help you unleash that potential into the world. So I'm pretty sure all of us on this call has somebody who has helped us out and been a huge influence. And especially as someone who's blind or visually impaired, it's a little challenging out there at times, but you still can go out there and do some awesome things.
For me personally, I kind of made like a personal connection when you talked about like when you were sharing stuff that, because I, like you, had eyesight and then lost it. When you're sharing like things that you could remember, you know what I mean, like stuff that you remember really well. But other things, and the one that really sticks out is you can't remember what your mom looks like.
Right.
But just hearing you like talk openly about that, I mean, like it's stuff I think about to myself, but never really talk about out loud a lot. But there are things that I can remember, like I had eyesight yesterday, even though it's been over 4 decades now, longer you and Jacory have been alive. But there are things that I just draw a blank on now that I feel like I should be able to remember.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, so you did read a little bit of it. He read enough for the show.
I actually need to talk to you about that, and I've needed to for a while.
Yeah.
And for the way it was shared with me, I haven't been a lot of people I can ask for that help. So I actually need help getting through the rest of it. Like technical help from you.
Right.
So I'll leave that at that. But everybody, please go check out both of these guys. Go to JacoryWiley.com. Go to LexGillette.com. I'll have those links as part of the YouTube page, and they'll also be shared wherever we share the show. But help these guys out. Go check it out. Go buy Jacory's book and send it out to all the youngins that you know. Go buy Alexa's book and just send it to anybody you know. And really, you could do that with Jacory's book too, because nobody's too old to read a Children's Book, right, Jacory?
Yes, sir.
Jacory, I'm a purchase.
Jacory, we didn't even get a chance to talk about you leaving the Indie Edge, man. You know, we'll have to have you on again to tell us.
Bro, stop it with
man. You know,
where
you gonna play next, bro?
You say what?
Where are you gonna play next?
What you mean? This year? I'm gonna be with my L. What you mean?
Yeah, don't fall for Seth's trap. That's what Jacory's already worried
man,
about.
I ain't even with the entrapment, so I'm gravy. You know what I'm saying?
But I was gonna say, Jacory, I'm gonna purchase your book. I'm gonna purchase both of them, but I need a signature on mine.
Look at here, you know what I'm saying? I got you, brother. I'm gonna do the same thing, man. It's what we do in the writer community, man. We stimulate the economy, man, by purchasing each other books, man. I got you, bro.
Okay.
I got an autograph, an original autograph, Jacory Wiley.
Yeah, man. Look, for real though. I was thinking about that the other day. I was just thinking about that earlier. I was like, man, like you and your family got like the originals, man. Like before I tried to make the work better, bro. Like look.
None of those damn re-editions, man. Not edition number 2.
Look, for real though, man. Look, it's a hardcover, man, with the book sleeve and with the glossy pictures and stuff now, man. Look, it's nice, dog. Look, man, but man, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for having us on, man. Like it's been a great show, man. It's always good, man. I appreciate you, Neil, for everything you do, brother. Thank you.
Hey, and you know what? The show is always good. You should tune in sometime.
look, hey, like I said, I check out all the replays. Look, I surely do. I surely do check out the replays. Like, hey,
We appreciate anyone and everyone that checks it out. I'm kind of happy with the little community that we've built, and I'm happy we're going to keep it going. This is, again, the final episode of 2021. We're going to take a few weeks off. I believe January 9th is the first Sunday that we will be back. I don't know what we'll be doing right away, but I do know that
I'll be getting ready for playoff football. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I won't bring it
I don't know what our first show back will be, but I do know that coming up in January, probably in the middle or maybe towards the end of January, we're going to have Jared Woodard come on the show. He'll get us all caught up on what's going on with the Thunder and talk about the successful season they had last summer. But also, Seth, I think it was when we had the Falcons on, we were talking. I mentioned kind of briefly, I don't remember how it came up, that I've had kind of a radical idea for the MBBA and its marketing of itself. And so Jared Woodard's no longer the second vice president, which is the role that is in charge of PR for the MBBA. But he has served in that role, been a member of the league his entire life. So I thought it'd be a good time to break out my big idea, Seth Dog, share it with you and Jared, and see where my idea goes. We'll see what kind of feedback I get from you guys.
You know, the world needs more idea, guys.
Well, it's an idea that it's an idea that I think should be considered, and that I literally almost went to Jared Woodard about privately back when COVID started. That's when I started forming this idea. So enough teaser. Just share it when we talk about it. But we're going to keep this thing rocking. Thank you for everybody that's been involved from the beginning throughout the year. And we look forward to doing more of this stuff with you guys all next year. Go check out JacoryWiley.com. Check out LexGillette.com. Thank you, fellas, for being here. Thank you, Seth Dog, for your year of help. Thank you, Frank Porter, for your help. And thank you, everybody else. We'll catch you after the new year. Everybody enjoy anything you celebrate this time of year, and we'll see you on the other side. Good night, Mama Zilla. Good night, Aunt Cindy.